Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, teacher.
Okay, so today we are continuing with plagiarism, and we are going to be looking at APA citation. So APA, as I'm sure many of you know, is the most common form of citation. So this week we're going to look at APA citation, and next week we're going to be looking at IEEE citation, just to get two different types of citations that are used for two different disciplines, or two different disciplines. There are many different ways to do sources and citations out there, but we decided to just focus on two. Okay, so the objective for today's lesson is that participants will be able to cite sources in APA format. Okay, community guidelines. So most of you have probably heard this before, but we are happy you are here. If you are late or have technical issues, please join the conversation as you are able to. Mute yourself when you are not talking, but please remember to unmute yourself when you do want to talk. We want to be able to hear everyone. Please complete the pre-session interactive self-paced slides and the post-session feedback form. This will help us revise and develop course content. And if you have questions or technical issues during the session, please send a message in the chat box indicating so, or email us at info@hettgroup.com. Okay, so my name is Lisa Vance. I will be facilitating this class or workshop today. I have previously worked in Myanmar, and I've done teacher training, I've done English language teaching, I've done environmental education, and my co-host is Kathleen, and she designs all of the slides. Kathleen, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here.
Kathleen.
Hello.
Okay. So how well can you cite sources? So show of fingers, not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite well, or extremely well. So if you could turn on your camera on a count of 3, show me, or if not, you can type in the chat bar which number. 1, 2, 3. So which number? So not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite well, or extremely well. So how well can you cite sources? So 1, 3, 3, 2. Okay. Three, 1. So has anyone heard of APA citations before, or APA format? And where have you heard of it? You can either tell me or type in the chat box. Has anyone heard of APA? I know some of the universities in Myanmar use different formats. So, yes. Where have you heard of APA? Research, no. Yeah. So I would say APA and MLA are are the two most common ones, and they are quite similar, but we're only going to do APA. Referencing, yes. Yes, but I have not used it. Yes. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it. So first of all, what does it mean to cite sources? If you're citing your sources, what does it mean? So if you're writing research and you want to cite your sources, what does that mean? Ah, there you go. American Psychological Association. That's what APA stands for. Yes. Okay. Definitely. So this is name the author of the idea that you are using in your paper and give credit to the original source. So it's making sure that you cite it in the text and then you have your references as well. Okay. What are the benefits of citations? Why should you cite or do citations? When you're writing your research paper, why should you use citations? What's the benefit of it? What is this module based on? You can tell me in the chat box. That's okay if you want. Avoid plagiarism. Yes. Easy to find references to avoid plagiarism. Yes, definitely. There we go. Okay. So it reminds you where you got your information. So it helps you so you don't forget where that piece of information came from. And then it's easy to figure out, it's easy to match to the source of the information. And then if you need to search back, you can find it. And it also tells the readers where they can learn more. So maybe they found that piece of information very interesting and they want to learn more. So now they know where to look. And it makes your work credible. It's so people can tell you just didn't make it up. You didn't just write it down because you had an opinion. It is actually based on something. And it helps prevent plagiarism, as mentioned. So it's kind of proof that you have not plagiarized. Okay. What is APA citation? Someone already kind of mentioned where it comes from. So it's the American Psychological Association, APA. And it is commonly used in the social sciences. It's used in psychology, it's used in education. I'm pretty sure in both my bachelor's and my master's degree, we used a mix of APA and MLA. We used a little bit of Chicago in my political science classes, but for most of my classes, we used either APA or MLA. So most research I've done was using APA or MLA. I can't remember which one. They're quite similar, and usually I was allowed to use either or. Okay, what is this? What does this show? So to this day, teaching is not as prestigious a career option as jobs in medicine, law, or engineering. So what does this show? Or what is this? Where could you find this? Yeah, it's a paraphrase. And what's at the end? So it says Ingersoll 2007, a citation, yes. So this is an in-text citation. So that you have the Ingersoll 2007 in there. So it's in text, like if you had your literature review, maybe you would have this as part of your literature review. When do you use in-text citations? When do you add that little name and date? So, oh, there we go. In text, yep. And after what? So after what kind of information do you add it? Yeah, to refer to other books or sources, yes, definitely. So every time you use another person's idea, you need to cite it every single time. Every single time you paraphrase someone, you have to include the in-text citation. Every time you summarize someone else, you include that in-text citation. It's very important to include it. What are 2 ways to mark paraphrases using in-text citation? So you saw one example, but there's actually 2 ways that you can do it with APA. If you did the self-paced, you might already know, or if you attended the Burmese class, you might know. Otherwise, maybe not. Okay, so the first one is paraphrased followed by the author's name and year of publication in parentheses, like we saw already. The second way is a signal phrase. So like according to, now I'm trying to think of more signal phrases, but like according to or stated by or mentioned by, researched by, that type of thing. By the author's name and year of publication, followed by a paraphrase. So there's 2 different ways of doing it. You can have the paraphrase first and then the author's name, or you could say according to and have the author's name and the paraphrase afterwards. So they can be flipped. Okay. So we're going to do this together. I had this, so it's annotate on the screen, but during the Burmese session, people found it easier to type in the chat box. So if you would like to type in the chat box, that might be the easiest way to do this. And then I can maybe annotate on it to kind of show you. Okay, so just an example before we go ahead. But if you see, we have the paraphrase here. Then we have the parentheses like this. We have the author's last name. We have a comma. We have the year of publication and then a parenthesis and then a period or full stop, depending if you're British or American. Okay, so that's what you need to remember. You need the parentheses, the author's last name, year of publication, comma, and period. Okay, so this is the first example. Schooling was seen as a responsibility of the parents, not of the government. So maybe in the chat box, can you can you add the citation? I'll just give you 1 or 2 minutes to add the citation. And then I can show you. Yeah, and make sure you have a space. It doesn't have that in the description, but make sure after the comma that you also have a space. Let's see if we can look at the example. So you see here, there's a space between the comma and the date. So make sure that you have that space right here. And also there's a little bit of a space right here. Okay, good. Okay, good. That's the other way of doing it. We haven't gone to that one yet, but good. Yes, you could also put it that way and then you could flip it. So yes, you could do it either or. Okay, anyone else want to write it down? Cool. I'll add it in. Spacing won't be quite correct, but parentheses. Oops, I'm spelling your name wrong. And then a space, 2020. And also remember the full stop. I noticed in the Burmese class, some people were forgetting the full stop or period at the end. So remember that you need to add the full stop or the period at the end. And don't forget it. Okay, so that's how it looks. Oh, I need to clear that. Okay, second one. Teachers were overworked, so younger children were often taught by older children. So again, just put it at the end. We're going to do the one that's at the end. So if you could put it in the chat box, how should it look? You have about 1 minute. Excellent. Anyone else wanting to put it in the chat box? Teachers were overworked, so younger children were often taught by older children. Hugh, 1988. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and now we're going to look at the other form. So we have the signal phrase according to. You can use different ones depending on what you would like. You can do like stated by, mentioned. I'm sure if you Googled, I've done it before where I've like Googled just signal phrases to use in research so that I would have a mix of signal phrases, but I haven't done it this time. But I have done that before, just so I wasn't using the same ones. So according to Ingersoll, so the last name, then you have the parentheses with the date, then you have a comma, and the paraphrase, and then the period or full stop at the end. So remember, you still need the period or full stop. Okay, so you have the signal phrase, author's last name, year of publication, parentheses, comma, and period. Okay, let's see if you can do this one. So can you put it in the chat box? Good. Excellent. And just make sure you have, there's also a full stop or period missing at the end. Okay. Oops. So annotate. According to, oh, and then make sure you add the full stop at the end. Yeah, like that. But obviously nicer, not an annotated. Okay, excellent. I need to close the annotate. Okay, next one. You put this one in the chat box. See if you can think of a different signal phrase than according to. Maybe researched by, stated by, as mentioned. Argued by, or blah, 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 argues. Good. Anyone else? According to, yeah, so researched by, just make sure, not reached, researched, but good. proposed that, it is argued that, is probably argued by Hugh that, or Hugh argued that. Okay, good, excellent. Yeah, so maybe you could do, oops, I need to do my annotation text. What could I use? I think a good one. Maybe we could do as research. Something like that. Yeah. And just to put in the chat box here, I'm going to write a few different words that could be used in the chat box. You can get them with a quick Google, but according to is the most common. Acknowledges, acknowledged, acknowledge. Adds, added. I'll just do one form. Addresses or addressed, argues, asserts, comments, concedes, as if there's disagreement, concludes, confirms, contends, declares, defines, emphasizes, explains, finds, mentions, notes, observes, points out, professes, reports, shows, states. So there's lots out there that you can use for signal phrases. Okay, what is this? What does this represent, or what does this show? If it had a title on it, what would the title be? Yes, good. So yes, this is references. This is a reference list. And what is a reference list? What does a reference list show? So yes, actually a reference list and a bibliography, I'd have to look up exactly for APA, but usually a reference list and bibliography are separate. Yeah, so it is the sources we used. So usually a bibliography is everything that you looked at, while a reference list is just what you used in your research or in your paper, sorry. So maybe you've read lots of papers that are related and you can put that on your bibliography, but the ones that you actually include with citations in your paper is your reference list. But yes, it is the sources that you use. So for each of your citations, you then have to include them at the end on your reference list. Okay, so it's a list of every source used in the paper. It is included at the end of the article or essay. So it's always at the end, whatever you're writing. If it's an essay or a research paper or like a journal article or, you know, like your thesis or something like that. It's always at the end. Okay. And why are reference lists important? Yeah, to guide the reader where to look for the original information. Good. Yes. To give credit to the original author. So you want, you know, you want to be like, hey, this person did this awesome research paper. Here's where I pulled my information from. Reminds you which journals or books your resources came from. Tells your reader where they can look for the original articles. So maybe if they want to know more, they know where to look. And it avoids plagiarism. What types of sources should be included in a reference list? So what do you include on a reference list? What kind of sources? I mean, what's the picture of? I mean, it's kind of an obvious question. Books, yes. What else? All the sources we use, like journals, yes. Websites, books. Websites, yes. So yes, printed books, articles published in journals, electronic sources, YouTube videos, interviews, and many more. So pretty much anything that you use as a site that would have a citation, then you reference it. That's links or URL. Yes, so those would probably be websites. Okay. Each type of source has a unique citation style. So a book is cited or it has a different citation or reference style than a journal article, which is different from a YouTube video. So they're all different. So you kind of need to keep that in mind and double check before you write your reference list on how to write that specific type of reference. So make sure to use a style guide and we'll show a link to one. What is normally included on a reference list? Sorry, I just kind of showed you. Like in the individual reference kind of entry, what information do you include? Author's name or names? Yes, definitely. Title? Yes. Title of what? Of the source? Yes. So, good. It might have different titles that you might use. Title of the periodical? Yes. Of the periodical or journal? Okay, yeah. So, oops. So the author's name or names, year or date of publication. Yeah, maybe the publication house if it's a book. Title of article or the book, journal or publisher name, and the DOI. What is a DOI? Digital object identifier. Good. And what's it for? Yeah. So sometimes your like a website link might change, right? So the actual website might change. So if you include the URL, then maybe it'll get broken and it won't work. But the DOI always stays the same. So it's a permanent code for the academic work. It will never change so that you know it will never get broken. So it helps the author and reader find the source again in the future. Okay, second activity. So in groups, you will use Pear Deck to create citations for articles published in academic journals. So you're going to create the reference list entry, like the citation kind of entry for articles published in academic journals. If you have any difficulties or questions, you can click the help button or send us an email. And I'll just show you what it looks like if I can. So make sure that you have last name, comma, first name, period or full stop, middle name, if there is one. If not, you don't have to include it. Full stop or period, comma, and if there's two names, you have an and. So that's the and sign. Last name, comma, first name, period, middle name, period, year, in parentheses, period, title of the article, period, title of the periodical, but you can't do this in Pear Deck, I don't think. And so that's the title of the journal, comma, volume, period, issue, number. So you write the issue number in there, page numbers, period, DOI with the DOI. So let's do one as an example to start with. Okay. So I'm going to use the annotate tool and the text tool. So does anyone want to, well, maybe we can just do it together. Okay, so we have the last name. which it looks to be Shigalova. SHCHELGLOVA, and then comma, first name, we don't have it, but you can see the I, so I, period, A, period. There's only one name, so we don't need to include both names. Oops. So for now, I've lost it. So we don't need to include both names, just one. And then we have the date or the year, which is 2019, comma, title of the article, across cultural comparison. Let me just make sure it's a little bit bigger. Comparison of the, and I'm going to start a new line. Of the academic engagement of students Okay, so period or full stop. Oh, period. Title of the periodical, Russian Social Science Review, comma, volume 60, comma, page number 314 to 327, DOI, and I'm not going to write out the whole DOI because that's not really possible. But you have to also make sure, it's a little bit harder on here, but that your first line, like your first line is, well, your other lines are indented in. So your first line is further out, and then your ones underneath are indented in. Okay, clear. I actually think I just noticed a small mistake. Yeah. You can't write on them. Just 1 second.
Sorry, that was my bad. I think I just added it to all of them though.
Sorry?
I just added the draw ability on those slides.
Oh, did you add it already? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That helps. Okay, awesome. So I can just put it on Pear Deck?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll share my screen again, so hopefully that'll work. Okay. I'll put the Pear Deck link in the message box so you can access it. Then you can just use the text underneath. So use the T. You can draw on the bottom underneath and write it underneath. So there's 3 here, but I'm just going to give you 10 minutes. We're a little bit behind. My apologies. So we'll just give you 10 minutes to work on this in groups to see if you can get these done. See if you can write the 3 entries. If you don't get all 3 done, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. So one person will need to share their screen and work together to write the answer. So I'm going to create 4 breakout rooms for 10 minutes. Okay. Do you want to turn the music on, Kathleen? And I'll mute.
pizza or salad? Which one do you think I'm having for dinner tonight? Well, it's definitely not this rabbit food. Why? Because this is going to do nothing but leave me craving this.
This also is currently in this room.
Hello.
Hello, teacher. We can't open our access.
Oh, okay. What happens? I see Pear Deck at the top. What happens when you click on, or is that me? Sorry, let me just see because I can't see properly.
Yeah, it says a connection issue.
Okay, and one more over. What happens when you try and open that one?
Okay.
Oh, so maybe try opening again. The link.
Okay. I'll try again.
link ပြန်ရောက်လာပြီ teacher ကျန် link ပြန်ရောက်လာတယ်အဲ့ link ကို share ရမှာ
အဲ့ဒါကဘယ်မလဲ participant မှာ
အဲ့
လား
link
ဟုတ်
ကို
ပါ
share ရမှာဟုတ် teacher မဟုတ် share ရမှာ teacher
share
We only have about 1 minute left. So if you can't get it open, we'll just.
We don't think we can finish it in time.
Okay.
We're so sorry.
So you can just come back to the main room. If you want to do it for homework and email it to me, then you can, and I can double check it, then you can. If not, you don't want to. Just send me an email with the answers and I can tell you if they're correct or not, if you want to.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
everyone to come back. Okay, if you didn't finish, that's okay. You can do it for homework if you want, and then email it to me, and then I can double check. We don't really have a lot of time to go through it, but if you want me to check, just send me an email with it, and I can double check it. Okay, so for information about APA citations, you can visit OWL, AWL, and they have information about how to do citations and referencing and everything for the APA format. So lots of information how to do it. More than what we have. So why is it important to cite your sources even when paraphrasing? You can tell me in the chat box, or you can just mention it. So why is it important to cite your sources even when paraphrasing? Good, to avoid plagiarism. Yes, yeah. Yeah, so we kind of talked about it to show how to find your sources in case people want more information, to prevent plagiarism. Yes. Okay, good. So how well can you cite, let's like remind where the ideas are from? Definitely. So how well can you cite sources? Not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite well, or extremely well. So show of fingers, or you can type a number in the chat box, 1 to 5. So if you can open your camera, so how many fingers? Not at all, somewhat, quite, not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite well, or extremely well. Okay, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, some 4s. Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to email out later the course feedback form and an invitation to join Google Classroom. All of the slides are kept in the Google Classroom, and you can download them from there. Or if you would like them already in PowerPoint form, you can send me an email and I will switch them to PowerPoint. It's pretty easy. They're all in Google Slides, but you can just say, I think download and then Microsoft PowerPoint. So if you want to download them as PowerPoints, you can download them as PowerPoints. And next week, we are going to be looking at IEEE citations. So APA is more social sciences and humanities. My bachelor's was in tourism management and business marketing, and we used APA and MLA for almost all my classes. My master's was in international development, and we use APA or MLA, and my certificate in like teaching and adult education, we use APA or MLA. I think APA. So those are, it kind of covers most of the social sciences, most of the humanities, and I think even business. But IEEE is for the sciences and more STEM. So sciences, engineering, that type of thing. So we'll look at that next time. And the feedback form. So like I said, I will also be emailing it out. You only have to fill it in once, but just so you can fill it in from that link or fill it in when it's being emailed to you. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay. So if you have any questions, you can email them or message over Facebook. So thank you very much. And bye-bye. Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.